What is Gyaan? I know in northern part of the country, too much Gyaan is going on everywhere. Too much talk about Gyaan is going on everywhere, not Gyaan. See, Gnaan, the word Gnaan, literally means to know. To know life and the root of life, the source of life, the way it is. Knowing can only happen with perception, not with stories, not with teachings, not with philosophies, not with dogmas, not with belief systems. Knowing can happen only by perceiving. So uninterrupted clarity in your perception is Gyaan. You believe Atman, Paramatman, God is like this, heaven is like that, my soul is in the form of a egg and this and that. This is not Gyaan. This is fairy tale. If you like fairy tales, don't listen to the Gyaan teachers, at least read asterisks. Yes. Because even the stories are horrible what they're telling you. They're not even good. You won't get to any Gyaan by listening to somebody about the nature of the existence and about the nature of God and creation, the nature of hell and heaven. You will not get any Gyaan, all you're getting is fairy tales. Gyaan will happen only when you take away the fetters of your perception, that you have absolute clarity to your perception, uninterrupted. Without any distortion, you're perceiving. If you have to perceive without distortions, first of all, what is it that is causing distortion to our perception? Your perception is distorted only because you're identified with something. You're constantly identified with something. The more identified you are, the more wonky your perception is. People who are deeply identified with their family, with their community, with their country, do you see how much nonsense they speak, with how much confidence? Do you see? People who are very deeply attached either to their family or community or caste or creed or nation, do you see how much absolute nonsense that even a child can see it is nonsense, but they will speak it with such vehemence and confidence? Have you seen this? It's happening all the time in the world. So, the distortion of perception has happened only because of your identification. The identification is spread over many things in the world, but it is rooted in your body. The moment you get identified with the physical nature of the existence, then everything else multiplies. If you're not identified with this, you will not be identified with anything. So the whole science of yoga is just focused on that, somehow to take away the identity from the physical body, you know. What all these people are doing is just to break that. They're working with the 5 elements. This is the Bhuta Shuddhi. Because the constituent ingredients to make the body is the 5 elements. So on that micro level, yoga functions, that you disidentify yourself from the basic 5 elements which make your body. Once you're not identified with the 5 elements which make this, you're not identified with anything physical in the existence. The whole physicality of the world has happened only with the play of 5 elements. Once identification comes, distortion is natural. You are deeply identified with something and you're seeking a spiritual process, listening to somebody else's stories, you will get more and more distorted. So initially, you are not able to simply exist here without identification. You have no such awareness in you to simply be here without any sense of identity. So that's the whole thing the spiritual process means. Take off all the identifications and put all your identification in one place. See, if you, let's say, identify yourself with your family and start living, after some time, if you grow out of it, they are not going to let you go. Initially, it was necessary for you, you got identified with the family. After some time, you became more aware and you want to go beyond that. They are not going to let you go. The Indian crab, you know. No way are they going to let you get out of the basket. They'll pull you down. Because it's an insult and an affront to another person that when he is still living in limitations and you talk about transcendence, nobody can stand it. That means somewhere you become something beyond what they are. They cannot stand that. Because after all, family is a self-interest group. It's a little mafia that you start. You know, the mafias call themselves family, always. Yes? Two people partnering to fulfill each other's needs. Big bad world. You and me, we are there for each other. It's a little mafia. So from there it generally tends to grow and get it more complex. So if you suddenly become realized and you want to transcend, even Gautama has to walk away in the middle of the night like a thief. Such a graceful human being. His wife should have given him the freedom to tell her, see, I need to go. And she should have put a garland on him and said, you go, you're going for such a purpose. Many people who are in the ashram, some of them brahmacharis, some of them otherwise, a few of them have had this fortune that in their homes when they said, say, I have such a longing, I need to go. Their parents, their relatives really celebrated that event and sent them very gladly. They are the fortunate ones. All the others have to fight a filthy battle at home because it gets so filthy. If you turn spiritual, the home situation can get very filthy. They will really become downright mean and fight with you in all kinds of ways. So, once this identification process begins, there is no end. So a spiritual person, a person with a spiritual intention, he is not yet free, he is not yet transcended this necessity for identification. He is still not gotten there where he can live absolutely free. So what he does is, he consolidates his identification. Instead of having many identifications in the world, with his profession, with his caste, with his creed, with his family, with his friends and education, the club that he attends and the clothes that he wears and million things. Instead of that, he takes off all that and makes it one single identity. With his guru or with Krishna or with whatever, he just makes a single identification. The advantage of this identification is, even before you want to cut it, the other person is willing to cut it when it's necessary. There is no risk of the other person holding on to the identification when you have to grow. So, shifting the identity to a one-pointed identity so that when the necessary situation arises within you to transcend, nobody else will hold you down. You are bad enough, you know. You are a bad enough impediment by yourself. You don't need other people's help to block your way. You don't need other people's help to stop you from transcending. I'm sorry, you're good enough. I'm not getting it right. You're good enough. You are capable of denying yourself truth endlessly for lifetimes. You don't need the help of your husband or wife or father or mother or somebody else to do this. You're just great by yourself. But suppose in this lifetime, you come to a point where you are no more an impediment. You kept yourself aside. But now somebody else should not stand in your way. So that's the reason why once a person has spiritual intentions, no matter where he is living, no matter what kind of situation he is living in, his only identification is with his Guru, because the day you are ready for transcendence, definitely he will not come in the way. So, it is rearranging your identities in a more sensible way so that it doesn't become destructive, doesn't become self-defeating.